Hey guys, good morning. It's Tony. I wanted to go in a little bit into the dollar and talk about why the dollar is so important and why I've been tracking the price of the dollar for the last couple of months, or just in general. I really track the dollar, right? Also, before I start, I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, myself. You can join the Patreon in the link below or in the description if I add it. If not, it's gonna be a treasure hunt to like try and find it and stuff. But yeah, feel free to join if you like the channel, if you like the way that I trade, if you like my TA or the style that I trade. Definitely join the Patreon. Have a lot of people on there that are learning how to trade, the method I know, and it seems to be working for a lot of people, which is fantastic. But yeah, I'll drop the link in the description and in the comments. But let's move on to what I think is happening with the dollar and where I think we are possibly going from here. Um, if you guys don't know, the general rule between the dollar and what is it called? The dollar and everything else is if the stock is up, more than likely the dollar is going to be down, right? Same thing with Bitcoin, right? So even when you put, Bitcoin, it's actually BTC USD, right? So it's actually Bitcoin against the US dollar, with the value of Bitcoin against a US dollar, right? And the problem here is that, the general rule is if the dollar keeps going up, more than likely the stock market is going to drop, and so is everything else, which is why I was a little bit worried for a little bit because we had such a huge push here, right? I'm trying to make this a little bit smaller. Here we go, right? I know there's a lot going on, but I'll at least take my forecast off so I can show you guys a little bit better. There we go. I could not edit it. So, as of right now, I was tracking I've been tracking the US dollar for a while, right? And essentially it was trading in a range back here. It broke out and then sideways, came back to retest trend, broke out again, right? Which is basically what I had, right? The last time I actually did TA was right here on January 26th, and I'm like, you know what? It's gonna go out. It's gonna go up. More than likely, gonna come back down, and then either go up or break this trend. And it's actually breaking this trend, which is exactly what we want. We want the DXY or the dollar. We want the dollar to break that trend, and more than likely, it's probably gonna come down to between the range of 94 and 93, which is that range that it was actually trading before right here. This range is between September and like early November. And why is this important? Because in early November, this is when stocks hit their peak right here. And guess what? It broke out of this range and then it ran to new highs. And then that's when all the stocks started tanking. I mean, that's when all the stocks and all of the market and all of the crypto markets started tanking. Remember, that's very, very important, right? This range was essentially the all-time high of crypto and the all-time high of stocks. And what happened, right? Dollar broke out of this range, boom, immediately everything else followed by everything dropping, right? So as of right now, what we want is we want the dollar to drop, right? We want the dollar to drop back to this area right here. We want it to drop somewhere around this area because that's a really good indication of possibly stocks and crypto market going back up to all-time highs, right? Because that's the area that it actually was before. So we can actually get rid of the forecast from before because this one ended up playing out really well. And I think as of right now, I think the dollar is going to drop, right? I think it's going to keep dropping. I think it's going to keep dropping to the 93 to like $94 range, and my trade sideways between this range. And keep in mind, if it actually ends up breaking this low of 93,286, I think the next area of support is going to be $91. And if it actually ends up dropping down here, it's gonna end up being extremely crazy, right? So there's a couple things that can happen, right? I think the dollar is gonna keep dropping. I think it's gonna go back to this trading range, but there's two things that can happen right here, right? Once it hits this range, it can either drop extremely hard and go back down to this level of support, which is exactly what we want, because we at this level, right? At this level, which is why I have an alert here. At this level, we can more than likely expect the stock market to be a completely brand new highs, maybe 5%, 10% above to where they used to be before. And if the dollar drops here, I can expect crypto to be maybe in the 75 plus thousand range, right? It's just a rough estimate, right? But there's a lot of things that can happen here, right? So scenario one is that it comes, well, I do think it's going to come down here. So scenario one, right, we'll mark it here, is that it just drops to 90, not to like $91, right? That's what I wanted to do. Scenario two is that it comes back to retest this under trend right here, right? This trend on the bottom side, right? And then from here, well, actually, there's only two scenarios right now because I don't want to put that it's going to go up and then it's going to go back down again. But two scenarios right now, and I'm not going to do anything else. There's two things that can happen. I personally think it's going to come back down to this trading range. I think it will. After it does this, there's only two things. Either it comes back and it retests this range right here, right? Or it drops further and it goes back down to 91. As of right now, the weekly is going to be bearish, right? We're more than likely going to close on Sunday bearish. And usually what happens after a bearish close is you can either keep going down for like a week or two, like 1 or 2 weeks, because usually when the DXY hits a bearish week, right? Usually when the DXY hits a bearish week, it really only goes for a bearish cycle for 2 to 3 weeks max, right? Ideally, I would want it to drop like this, right? I want it to drop this much in the stochastic because look, we have been oversold ever since, the bulls have had power ever since July of 2019, right? All of this for like 3 years or so. We've been extremely, extremely oversold, right? 3 years is a very long time for bulls to have power. But I think we're in a range where I think we're extremely oversold, and I would ideally like to have maybe this be like a double top, although it doesn't look like it. But I would want us to drop fully, right? I would want us to actually, from the stochastic, right? I would want us to go from here, this level of 70-ish, all the way down to 20 and under, right? That's what I want. We have so much room to drop here, but historically, it's not on our side, right? Because you have bull power ever since since 2021, July 2021. Sorry, I don't know why I said 2019, but ever since July of 2021. Bulls have been in control, right? That's why you see this massive rally, and that's when, that's kind of when everything started recovering to the upside, and the dollar started getting stronger. And this initial drop right here, let me see. See, this drop right here was indicative of what happened in 2020, right? You had April, March, 2020. Right, so this right here from May 20th all the way down to January 2021, you had that big drop because the stock market kept going down for those ranges, right? And then for here, 2021, sorry, these numbers are messing me up. The way that they're like laid out because the day is first and the month and the year and stuff. But anyways, I think right now that we are in a really good spot to have the dollar drop even further, which I think is definitely possible because I do not want the dollar to recover, right? I do not want the dollar to recover. I want the dollar to keep dropping, and I want it to drop massively. And as of right now, it seems like we are in good graces to have the dollar drop back to this range. And if we do, this is the range where stocks and the crypto market were at all-time highs. And if we drop down to this, to 91, I think we can go up even further, regardless of inflation and all the bad news and everything. I think we can go up even further to possibly, let's say, to SPY to like 500 and Bitcoin at like 75 to 80K plus. That's what I think can happen. I'm not saying it will, but it definitely can happen. And on the weekly, we have an insane amount of room to keep going down, right? On the daily, we're already at lows in the stochastic. So we can definitely see a rebound right from here to the upside, which is not what I want, right? I do not want to see a recovery up here because that means that Bitcoin and the stock market will more than likely continue its fall, right? I want the dollar to come down, and I think it will. I think there's a really good chance that we drop down to this, but I want to see it break lows of 94.627, right? We need this to keep dropping down. If you see some sort of recovery to the upside, then I don't have a lot of confidence in the stock market or the crypto market, but I wanted to keep coming down. I think there's a really good chance that we keep dropping to this 94.5, 93.2 level as far as right now, because we are going to be closing a bearish week on Sunday. But we gotta wait and see, right? I'm hopeful that the dollar keeps dropping, and that helps everything else kind of run to the upside. So I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.